stepped to the podium. He said Tua's out. Still has not cleared concussion protocol. Right now on Wednesday, he can say Tua Tagovailoa will not play. Teddy Bridgewater, actually, may not play. Right now, it's looking like Skylar Thompson.
As it stands right now, he's working to prepare himself to be capable on Sunday. But as a result of that, he can't afford any setbacks or really anything that's conflicting against the healing process in the week. As a result, we will be approaching the game today, the Wednesday game, as Skylar Thompson as our starting quarterback.
All right, Skylar Thompson, the starting quarterback, picked 247 in this year's draft. Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo out of Kansas State. Look, to his credit, he helped get them in the playoffs by setting up Jason Sanders for that 50-yard field goal. But Tua's not in this week. And Ian, honestly, I don't know that Mike McDaniel gave us a lot of reason to think that if the Dolphins win this game, he'd play next week.
I would agree with that. And, you know, I hadn't really talked to anyone that was assuming Tua would play this week. Obviously, it's important news, and for Mike McDaniel to come right out and say it, that he has not been cleared for football activities. I think that is nice to essentially have some finality to get it out of the way. There's not really a great way of saying it, but just to make that official now. But really the biggest question for the Miami Dolphins is it going to be Teddy Bridgewater or is it going to be Skylar Thompson? And, Mike, I kind of like the way Mike McDaniel describes this. Today, for the Wednesday game, which there's no game on Wednesday, but the Wednesday game, the proceeding is if it's Skylar Thompson. Obviously, they would love if it was Teddy Bridgewater. He was throwing a little bit late last week, was able to throw on that dislocated pinky finger on his throwing hand. That is a good sign. If he can ramp up, if he can make the full throws, if he can get out there functionally, then I'll expect him to be out there and be able to play this coming week. If he cannot, then yeah, it's going to be Skylar Thompson, who obviously is a rookie, but given the experience he has now, I'm not sure he would qualify as a rookie anymore, maybe.
Sure he would. He's considered a rookie in his first year. I don't know what that means. But I know what you're saying. At least he's got some experience.
Thanks,
he played in, how many games here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 games this year. He started 2.
That's a lot of games.
But in those 2 games, you're done. You're tired. It's my turn. They scored 11 points. They scored 16 points. This is a team that has scored in the 30s and the 40s, I believe, this year with Tua Tagovailoa. They're just not as explosive with Skylar Thompson. It's going to have to be a different kind of game, but I don't think the Bills are planning to play that kind of game, right? The Bills are planning to put some points on the board. So how do the Dolphins figure out a way to keep pace? It's going to have to be that running game. Going to have to be that creativity of Mike McDaniel. He's able to scheme up home run running plays. So he's going to have to do that now more than ever, Andrew.
Yeah, he will. Skylar Thompson still checking over there with Laquan and research. Still technically a rookie. So
good. Good to know.
He is in
that finality too.
He's in line to start. Thank you, guys. And look, it's a different offense without Tua. Pure and simple. Dolphins split this year with the Bills in September, beat them in Miami when it was oppressively hot, and then lost in Buffalo in a 3-point game in December when it was not warm. It was not warm at all. So let's get back to Miami here with Cam Wolf, Baldy obviously as well. Cam, they're moving forward as if it's Skylar Thompson, but you know they spoke, Ian did, of clarity here. The clarity certainly, I think, helped from reading your tweets from Dolphins players.
Yeah, Andrew, I just spoke with a few Dolphins players in the locker room maybe about 30 minutes ago, and there was a feeling of not shock, but ultimate disappointment, right? And so they know that Tua makes them a better team, but they have to move forward with Skylar as their quarterback. You know, it's the playoffs. You have to move forward. But this is a little bit different than a next man up approach. These players all know the reality of the situation. They've been one of the best offenses in the NFL with Tua as their quarterback. I talked with Raheem Mostert after that first Bills game, and he said, we're finally hitting our cylinder as an offense. We scored 29 points. Tua's firing. We can beat any team in the league. This week, they have to do it differently with Skylar. They're going to have to lean a lot more on that defense that played really well against the Jets, and they're going to have to lean on a running game that may not have Raheem Mostert because he has a broken thumb. And so this Dolphins team knows that even with Skylar at quarterback, everyone else outside of the quarterback is going to have to stand on their head this week to pull the upset against the Bills.
You know, Cam, I don't know if Teddy's
We're doing it.
pinky finger looks like this to throw a football. I'm not positive. Like this might be
Is
a
that
little,
officially dislocated?
It doesn't look like
it's
that.
just,
It doesn't look like
bent.
that.
It's just, but if Teddy's got a grip of football like this, I'm thinking he might have problems. I don't know what it looks like. Look, I just this weekend announced for national radio the Jets and Dolphins game, and the best thing Skylar did was lead him on that final drive for the Jason Sanders field goal to win that game. But and Tyreek Hill was in and out of that game last Sunday, so he wasn't 100%. This is where they're at right now. The big thing Skylar did was he didn't turn the ball over. So that was helpful against the Jets defense that had been taking the ball away pretty good this year. They have to rally around the situation. Teron Armstead wasn't out there. I mean, they got to get as many healthy bodies they can back defensively. It was good to see Bradley Chubb back out there on the field. They've got to make some plays. Javon Hall and their star players have got to rally around the quarterback position, who's ever in there right now, to be able to keep the score down. If you think about that Week 3 game where, Miami won, I mean, Buffalo outgained them 2-1 in that game, but they got a couple turnovers. They forced Josh Allen into a few, and that's their best method to try and pull out a win this weekend.
For the record, as we talk quarterback injuries here, do you also have a PCL injury in your knee that you could demonstrate as we transition?
It's a little wobbly.
Transition to Lamar Jackson?
Lamar, first of all, just one day in my life, I want to be able to move like Lamar can move. Just one day. Not about the rest of my life. Just one day, I just want to feel what the wind feels like, when you're running that fast.
We'll take a picture and then email it from the iPhone. Thank you, Cam Wolf. We appreciate you. Let's get to the Lamar Jackson news. News that Ian Rappaport had earlier for you today during Good Morning Football, and that is uphill battle, Ian's words. Lamar Jackson faces an uphill battle to play Sunday against the Bengals. He missed the final 5 games. If you include the Denver game, Week 13, really 6 games here of the regular season. And now they're in a rematch at a 6-3 game back in Cincinnati. Ian, uphill battle, as we noted yesterday, and today will be big. He still has not practiced since that injury.
Mike, go ahead. You can start us off here.
Okay, I'll start, even though he said Ian. I'll take it. He faces an uphill battle. That's the way Ian phrased it. They're stepping on the practice field within the next half hour or so. If Lamar Jackson is not there with them, I would not be surprised. You're right, Andrew. He hasn't practiced to this point. It's not even like, well, he's gotten in a little bit of work, and let's see if he can progress. He hasn't gotten to the practice field. Now, he's done some things on the knee, but from what I gather, it just hasn't felt right to him. And this is not like the doctors are going to have their say and say, oh, it's been a certain amount of time, or we're looking at a scan, and yeah, he's good, put him back out there. No, Lamar Jackson's got some input on this one, and until he feels right, until he feels like he's not going to damage himself going further, and if you've got a PCL injury and you play on it, yeah, potentially it could lead to some other damage as well. So Ian, sounds like Lamar Jackson felt coming into the week like he's not yet ready to go out and play, and unless that changes sometime in the next half hour or so, it seems like they're going to begin their preparation without him.
Yeah, and it's been hard to make definitive statements on the status of Lamar Jackson. Just such a small inner circle, and obviously a team that is, I don't want to say frustrated, but they've heard a lot of these questions over the last couple months. And look, this is an injury that I think most people thought would be just a couple-week injury. Here's my understanding of where it is. He doesn't feel right. There's been some swelling, and he doesn't feel right. And it's hard for any of us to go out and say, oh, well, obviously he's not playing because of contract. Like, he is one of the best athletes we have seen playing in the NFL in a very long time. He is one of the best quarterbacks we have seen playing in the NFL in a very long time. When he is 100%, he does not feel like himself, so it's hard for any of us to say, well, he should be playing when he's just not ready. And we'll see if that includes today, which I would expect in about a half hour.
And for those monitoring Lamar's social media accounts, like his Instagram stories, are a lot of positive stuff from fans and autographs and stuff like that, and other things. On Twitter, however, it is notable that yesterday he retweeted Jim Trotter's comments from this show, in which Jim said he spoke to another player who said that his PCL injury happened in September and he didn't feel right at the end of the year, months later. And Lamar retweeted Jim Trotter saying that, which is notable here.
Well, maybe he'll retweet this.
Maybe he'll retweet this. See, I went to you first because, like, I saw you talking about it on GMFB this morning, and that's just what was in my head. You know?
Oh, some of us know how to follow directions, and some of us don't.
You think I look at this thing very often? I mean, really? You do the show every day with me. You think I really look at this thing very often?
What is it?
It's the rundown. What does it say now?
Here, I've got one.
We bumping? We're bumping Darren Woodson.
This is what a rundown looks like.
Coming up next, is Darren Woodson getting in the Hall of Fame? Are the Cowboys getting a win Monday in Tampa? We're bumping Darren Woodson. Okay, we have a shot at Darren Woodson here? Maybe? Darren Woodson's coming up. Film analysis of the National Football League. He can now send a photo.
I can actually get contracts, paid.
Well, that's important as well.
Yes.
In all seriousness, we have wonderful news about Damar Hamlin. Can we get to that?
Yes.
Take a photo of this, Baldy, on your screen.
Okay.
Send it to somebody.
We'll do that.
Damar Hamlin is heading home. The Bills announced it today that he is discharged from Buffalo General Medical Center and the Gates Vascular Institute, and he is on his way home. Remember, a couple of days ago, on Monday, he was able to leave Cincinnati in that hospital and go back to Buffalo, but he wasn't home yet. Now he is heading home. Sean McDermott on the podium moments ago.
Yeah, we're, obviously grateful first and foremost that he's home and with his parents and his brother, which is great. I'm sure it's felt like a long time since he's been able to be home naturally there, and I'm sure it's a great feeling. And yeah, we'll leave it up to him. His health is first and foremost on our mind as far as his situation goes, and then when he feels ready, we welcome him back as he feels ready.
All right. That would be amazing if you could actually be in the building or better yet, be at the game. Bills and Dolphins coming up this weekend. Cam Wolf is in Miami covering the Dolphins. We'll get to that in a second. Cam, you spent most of last week in Cincinnati covering Damar Hamlin and his recovery immediately after his injury on the field. This is just remarkable news 9 days later.
Yeah, Andrew, you said it. Remarkable. 9 days after that cardiac arrest, to see him going home. And I spoke with his uncle, Dorian Glenn, just 5 minutes ago. He sent me a text message with the capital words, blessed. He said, look, he's in his apartment right now with his parents, Mario, Nina, and his brother, Demir. And we, the extended family, the Pittsburgh family that drove up through a storm to go see them out in Cincinnati, are now driving up to Buffalo to try to share this moment with him today in his apartment in Buffalo. And look, Damar Hamlin has been trending this way over the last couple of days since he was discharged from that Cincinnati hospital to be able to go to Buffalo. They did the test they needed to see everything is moving towards normal, and he'll continue his care in his home and with the Bills. But this is just such amazing news. His uncle just mentioned how much of a roller coaster of emotions this has been for the entire family over the last 9 days, and he once again reiterated that the support, the praise that everyone has given to them has truly impacted his nephew's recovery. And he said he can't wait. He said he's already planning a party a week from now where he hopes to be able to celebrate not only Damar's recovery, but just the whole family being able to exhale after what has been maybe the 9 days they least expected to have over their life. And so a joyous day for everyone, but particularly Damar's family as they get to spend it with him at home.
Yeah, Cam, this is a collective sigh of relief for Buffalo, the National Football League, for the United States of America. I mean, everybody has been following the story. Prayers up. They work. And I think from the very beginning of the uncertainty of what happened on the field on 9 days ago in Cincinnati to now, we've all been just waiting for this next piece of news. We've been kind of getting it, bits and pieces. But to be released right now, to be home, to feel normal, to know you're going to be okay, like it's just such a collective sigh of relief from everybody, I think.
It's uplifting for the Bills, certainly, as they get ready for their game against the Dolphins coming up Sunday here on